John Thornton here, allproblogger.com. Just want to wrap up the preseason for the Cincinnati Bengals. I know they have one game left versus the Indianapolis Colts in Cincinnati next Thursday night. But for all intents and purposes, the preseason is over. The game against the Colts has always been the type of game where the Bengals will use it to sort of bounce into the season, to sort of have a feel good going into the season. The Colts use it as we're not getting any of our key players hurt. They rarely play any of their starters, any of their key guys. And they usually, and now with the expanded roster, you can expect more than that, more things like that. So I don't think you'll get anything as a fan. You won't get anything to sort of read into this team by watching them next week. Now, it'll be a fun game to go to. I'm sure they'll light up the scoreboard. The Bengals needed to work on some timing, things like that. But as far as a competitive standpoint, it won't be much of a game. So to me, the preseason is over in the sense that we've seen enough from this team. We've seen them against an upstart team like the Detroit Lions. We've seen them against an established team like the New York Jets, and we've seen them against a bad team like the Carolina Panthers. And if you go by those three games, I think it's unfair to get too excited from what happened against the Panthers because we saw them Sunday night against the Jets last Sunday, and they didn't look good. We saw some good things from that game against the Jets, but they didn't look good. They would have probably lost that game. The Detroit Lions game, the Lions jumped out on them. The Lions are an upstart team. Like the Bengals, the Lions have young offensive stars, really good players, and they have really good defensive line. They have defensive stars. Ndamukong Suh, Kyle Vanden Bosch plays hard. They have a good defensive line. Things like that in Detroit that teams are going to have to deal with. And the Bengals didn't play well in that environment. So, it's hard to read the Bengals this year. I think they're going to be a decent competitive team. Can I say that they're going to win 8 games? No, I'm not prepared to say that at this point. I don't think they know that. I don't, excuse me. I don't think they really know what kind of team they're going to have. I know this. They're going to play Andy Dalton. Jay Gruden said it this week that he's going to go into the season as a starter. They've given Andy Dalton majority of the snaps. Bruce Gradkowski's been the backup. He hasn't gotten a lot of snaps, and even when he's played with the backups. He hasn't really played with the ones. So I don't think they even wanted him to be the starter. They want him to be the fallback guy in case Andy struggles during the season. And that's a role that Bruce can play because he's used to coming in once the starter fails. So that was a strategic move to bring in Bruce Gradkowski because this has been his role for his career. He hasn't been a frontline guy. He's been a guy that's come in. If he needs to play 2 games while your starter's hurt, he can do that. He can win you a game or two. That's been his thing. I don't think they brought him in here to be the starter, which when he was signed, I thought he would be the starter and Andy would be the backup and learn. But, I guess the team is looking at like, what do we have to lose? So, grading the Bengals versus the AFC North at this point from what I've seen in the preseason, I would have to put them at the bottom of the AFC North. I think the Steelers are the best team. Just judging by preseason, not by past success. I just think in the preseason, the Steelers starters have played well. I think that the Steelers played really well versus the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Eagles are the supposed dream team. The Eagles are going to be one of the top teams in the NFC, and the Steelers had a really good game against the Eagles. Defensively, offensively, they had 95-yard drives. Defense got a bunch of turnovers. So the Steelers were themselves against the Eagles. So just based on that, and I know they're always good, but I just think that right now the Steelers are ready to play. The Ravens, I'm always up and down on the Ravens. I'm never as high as a lot of people are, but the Ravens find a way to win. They find a way to get into the playoffs. Their coach is 3 for 3 getting into the playoffs in his first 3 years, same as Joe Flacco. The defense is getting old, but they do have Haloti Ngata, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed. They have 3 studs, 3 elite players. three great leaders defensively, and guys that fit in around them offensively. They piece together a really good offensive line. They have a really good running back, and they've added some speed in Lee Evans at receiver. Anquan Bolden is tough. So, the Ravens, and their quarterback is in his fourth year. He should play a lot better. Even though he's been in the playoffs 3 straight years, he should play better. So I would have to put the Ravens number two. I really like what the Cleveland Browns have done in the preseason. I think that they played well enough for me to say they're going to be competitive. I think that their new West Coast attack is good for Colt McCoy. Peyton Hillis is going to run the ball well. They have an offensive line led by Joe Thomas, who's an elite player, just got a fat new contract. Eric Steinbach is still a good left guard. I think Alex Mack is the center, a former first rounder. So the Browns have some pieces, not great speed at receiver, but good receivers. Um, Robisky, they have Greg Little, they have Josh Cribbs. So they have some guys there that can catch the ball and know what to do once they get the ball. So the Cleveland Browns, to me, will be the third team at this point. And the Bengals, is just too many unknowns. And I would love to put them higher, but at this point, if I'm being honest with it, they didn't play good against, like I said, they didn't play good against the Jets, who we know are going to be a playoff team. They didn't play that well against Detroit Lions. They actually, it was a disaster. They didn't start off well, and the Lions played well. So to me, even against the upstart teams, they struggled. Now, the Bengals have gotten better each week. I respect that, and I think that they're going to be competitive. So who knows what they're going to do in the games. And I think the key is that you have a young quarterback in Andy Dalton, and you've seen that in his play. I mean, he's good throwing the short passes. His passes are still erratic. Guys are making great catches here and there. Some of them are high. Some of them his slants are out too far to A.J. Green, or he'll throw a deep pass, might get picked off, or he'll throw a perfect deep pass. Might throw it, and it might be, over the guy's head. So Andy, I think, will get more comfortable as the season goes along. I think Jay Gruden is going to have to do a hell of a job calling plays to make sure Andy is comfortable, to make sure he's not out of his element and he has to sling it around all game. They have to get the run game going. They have to get Bernard Scott more touches. They have to take Cedric out, even though he might want the ball more and gets better at each carry. But Bernard Scott needs the ball because he's definitely a very good running back. So, the Bengals have talent. They have A.J. Green. They have Jerome Simpson, Jermaine Gresham, Shipley. They have guys that need to catch the ball. The offensive line has to protect. I think the tackles are good for the Bengals. I think the inside guys, it's going to be a week-to-week thing, how well they play. So, to me, I just think the AFC North shakes out that way at this point going into the season. Now, what happens during the season, who knows? I mean, it could flip. The Bengals could take care of this early part of the schedule, get some confidence, and be a good team. But at this point, like I said, I'll just rate the Steelers, Ravens, Browns, then Bengals. So what happens from here? I think the Bengals tweak the roster a little bit. I think the third cornerback position is still something they need to control. I think they need to find a third cornerback. I'm not sure how Adam Jones is going to come back from the neck. He said he's going to be back in the third week of the season. If I'm the Bengals, I'm looking for a guy that can play that position right now. I'm still looking for any interior offensive line help if I can find it. And I think they're settled at the defensive tackle position. I think the young guys can rotate and play well. I think the defensive ends will play well. They've been playing well all preseason. Um, Taylor Mays coming in as a wild card. I think he's going to help the team in some way. Some defensive packages on third down will take advantage of him. The cornerback position worries me. Leon Hall struggles with guys going downfield on him, and they're going to be playing some quarterbacks that can get the ball downfield. So Leon Hall, even though he's one of your better players, his play, not only in this preseason, but even last year, he was the guy to me with Jonathan and Leon. Jonathan Joseph was the guy that was athletic, had the speed, who could make up for his mistakes and outrun people and catch up and make plays on the ball. Leon Hall, if a receiver gets past 10 or 15 yards on him, he struggles. He loses the ball. He doesn't make a lot of plays on the ball down the field, whether it's because he's behind the guy or the guy just out jumps him. So he just usually struggles down the field. And if teams decide to attack him that way, if they have a big time receiver, I think that can be trouble for the Bengals. But anything in front of him, 10 yards, Leon Hall is a very smart guy. He studies a lot of film. Um, he'll make a lot of plays on the ball for those slants and things like that. But anything downfield, he struggles. So that's sort of my outlook on the Bengals at this point. I just think that they're an unknown team. I think they're going to play with great energy. They have a group that likes each other. I think the locker room is a good locker room. I think they have great coordinators. Mike Zimmer, experienced coordinator. Jay Gruden. I like his play calling. I don't know how he will react to other coordinators with the rookie quarterback and being sort of limited. But I do like his approach. I think he can be a good coordinator in this league. Obviously, he has his brother to help him out on some things if he needs it, John Gruden. So I think the Bengals are going to have great coaching this year, and they're going to have to limit a lot of mistakes. They can't come out and turn the ball over, because if they have the 1 or 2 turnovers a game like they've been having, they're going to lose, because I don't think that um, they're I don't think they have the type of team that can just come back from those type of deficits. I don't think they'll score like that. So that's sort of my outlook right now. Feel free to comment. Tell me what you think about the team. But, Panthers game I thought was very good for the Bengals, just for them. The Panthers weren't very good. They didn't have great personnel. Outside of Cam Newton, they didn't have any playmakers. The Jets was just the Jets. The Bengals struggled in the rain. The Jets didn't struggle in the rain. And then the Detroit Lions got off to a great start on them. The Detroit Lions were an up-and-coming, upstart type of team that fed on the Bengals. So, the Bengals have some work to do before the regular season starts. But I also think that they're going to have to play their best to win in this league this year. So, hope you enjoyed it. John Thornton, allproblogger.com.